All right, everybody, we are live. We are live for another Stadia live session for November 18th, 2020. I haven't done a real good job in sending out notifications, so I am going to do that now because it appears that nobody knows that we are live. Join us live now as we talk the latest Stadia rumors and news. All right. Oh man, I don't even know who that is. All right. And then we're going to do a little something like this. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, welcome everybody to Stadia Live Session. I am your host, MM2K, on behalf of Stadia Dosage. Ooh, look at that. I spelled Stadia wrong. Better get it together. Can't do that, right? Where did they do that at? On behalf of Stadia Dosage, right? Your place to get straight up, down the middle, factual Stadia news content. All right. Now I want to open Discord. Y'all know how I do. For those of you that are familiar, I do all my programming, all my programming notes during the show. I want to put this out there now. Come on, Discord. Come on, Discord. Shout out to the homie Hell Monkey. Please have a quick look over the house rules. Okay, all right. Gamer share ID. Okay. Oh man, okay. Hell Monkey got a hell of a Discord now, man. Shout out to him. General chat, Stadia news, gamer ID share, Super Stadia Saturday. Okay, he ain't got. I was just looking to see if he had a place for advertise. Hey, Hell Monkey. I would suggest, it's up to you. I would suggest, again, we small community, let people advertise. Ooh, my coffee. Let everybody advertise. That'll actually bring popularity to your Discord too. Do a drop your link channel, but do it in slow mode. So mugs ain't spamming, you know what I'm saying? Mugs ain't spamming your thing. Do it in slow. They can only make a post every 2 hours. But this is dope, man. Hell, if y'all ain't part of Hell Monkey's Discord, Hell Monkey, if you're listening, please drop a link to your Discord in here, man. He got this thing laid out, man. This is dope. Definitely dope. All right, let me do this. All right, I want to go here first. I just saw this because I saw a bump in Discord and I was like, oh, this is Hell Monkeys. And I was looking in there and I was just checking to see if you had to drop your link in there. But yeah, so you don't get spam, bro. So mugs ain't just using your, you know what I'm saying? Using your Discord as like a little wet paper napkin and just throwing it away. Put it in slow mode, bro. But let them drop their link. That'll have the Discord popping even more. All right, and then we're gonna go to broadband bullies. Yo, his thing is dope, man. He fleshed that mug out like overnight. Shout outs to him, man. I might have to give you a couple dollars to come straighten up my Discord, bro. Come straighten out this PNTS network Discord. We got 89 channels, they all over the place. But with that being said, shout out to the homie Hell Monkey, and then we're gonna tweet this out too. Come on. There we go. And then I'm going to go here. Let me refresh this right here. We're going to go here to Stadia Dosage channel. If I can find myself. Oh, I hate when it does this. I don't know why it acts so slow. Okay, there we go. All right. We're going to retweet. All right, we're good. Let me see. Did we get any more? Okay, we got 15 watching right now through all that. Hey, yeah. Oh, you already done it? Oh, okay, Hell Monkey. Hey, yo, Hell Monkey, that's dope, bro. Shout out to Hell Monkey. You dropped a link Drop a link to your. Oh no, he's not a mod. What the hell is wrong with me? You are now a mod. Hell Monkey, that Discord is dope. Drop a link to your Discord in here. But shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. We got the homie Wrong Yeezy. We got Hell Monkey. We got Kenny G. What's up, people? We got the homie C Pro. Glad to see you again, my good friend. And Bubby has well kisses. What's good, chat? Keith McDermott is in the house as well. I'm gonna talk some of these Stadia rumors. Let's talk some of these Stadia rumors. But C Pro says here, hold on, let me go to the comments. I'm all over the place. I gotta. He says any potential that Outcasters could still release tomorrow without being rated yet on PEGI or ESRB. I will say this, C Pro. There was the one Stadia Connect where they they had PEGI. I mean, not PEGI. Was it ESRB? They had ESRB hold the rating until the day of the show. So it's very likely, like, I don't know what they did. They dropped a duffel bag to somebody and they said, look, please don't spoil this for us. And they didn't release the ESRBs until the day of the show. So it's very possible, C Pro. Hey, look, everybody, we got a celebrity that's raiding the house. Our good friend Caleb Gaming. What's up, Caleb? How you doing, good friend? How you doing, my friend? Glad to see you come through. Thank you very much for stopping by and showing some support. But definitely check out here. Let's do this too. Because I love Caleb's content. We got a celebrity in the house. We gotta show respect and love. Caleb, you are a moderator for those, which again, if they know who I am, they definitely know who you are. But for those weird transient situations in the galaxy, out in the ethos, for those that follow me that may not be following you, Caleb, do us a huge favor. Can you drop a link to your channel in here as well? All right. But no, great question, C Pro. I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen tomorrow. I think states either there's one or two things happening. A, nothing. Or B, Stadia learned a valuable lesson. And we got to remember, y'all, this is still early on. This is data collection phase. And this is how Google operates. They love experimenting simultaneously with commercial releases. This is what they do. And they're experimenting with their messaging. Okay. So what we're seeing is that they tried something different with the good stuff. They saw that the good stuff did have good reception at the end of the day once the dust settled. It even outdid that whole situation with the crazy tweet. We ain't gonna get into that. But they realized that there's some things that they could fine tune. And they've been told by multiple sources to just stealth drop this. Just be quiet, stealth drop it, and just, and garner up excitement there. I get where they want to build up anticipation, because if they're dropping something big, they're going to want to get the news media involved, or maybe not. Because when the news media got involved, information, quote unquote, leaked, or however it worked, you know what I'm saying? Or there wasn't a clear communication between the information that they gave the news media and what they were supposed to release and what they weren't supposed to release, right? So, and if you look at it, I'm going to talk about this later in the show. If you look at what they did with Destiny yesterday by just announcing that, hey, Destiny is going to be free to play. That's our first official announcement on a free to play game. Destiny is going to become free to play. So check it out here. Check it out officially this date. And enjoy. And that just blew our minds. Like, what? Destiny's going to be free to play? That's totally awesome. There goes Caleb Gaming's link. Please sign up. Great content. He comes down the middle. He's honest. brutally honest. He gives his feelings on the platform, what they can do better, what he likes, and all that other stuff. And that's what we need in the community. It's not about, I'm not one, I know I talked about this last night. I'm not one. Well, I'm more optimistic about the platform because I think I finally settled into a lane that I kind of understand what they're doing, to where when I first started talking about why is my sleeve keep hitting my keyboard? It's annoying. When I first started talking about this platform, y'all, I was enthusiastic, but I still didn't understand where they were trying to land. I thought they were trying to be more competitive up front than I kind of understood. And then it took, again, I always mention 6'4", shout out to him. You got to give credit where credit is due, because what happens a lot in the YouTube stratosphere is that people will put out great content. They will put out or thought-provoking sentiments, but they don't get credit for it. Someone else picks up on it and then they own it like it was theirs. So I definitely don't want to do that. 6'4" helped me get into an epiphany with the platform, listening to other people, Bippity Bop, Raindrop, a bunch of other community members. They were like, hey, MM2K, this is the stuff that we've been telling you for the last several months that you kind of like glossed over. They're not trying to 1v1 compete against Xbox and PlayStation. Cloud gaming is just a 4% industry right now. And analysts are rosy-eyed and thinking it's going to get to 8% in 2025. Like, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And so even though we had the rhetoric of the 10.7 teraflops and all that other stuff, that was just Google's haphazard way of trying to introduce themselves into the community, into the gaming community, and gin up hype. Hence why we saw the weird commercials, right? With the guy with the big fro, and he's he's floating in pink sky residue. It was a little like a scene off of Ghostbusters from the 80s. Hence why we saw that stuff, because they were just trying to invoke something in your mind like, oh, okay, the Stadia thing, I understand what it is. Because they also understood the dynamic that they're in. They are launching this platform right when people are ginning up anticipation and getting ready to purchase next-gen consoles. And it's very easy for people to forget about Stadia. But Stadia has been in the mouths of the hardcore, probably not in a positive way, but they've been in the mouths of the hardcore, since its launch. And that's kind of what they wanted. I think they just wanted to get more mind share faster, or more positive mind share rather faster. And they're tweaking their communication to reach that goal. And we're seeing massive improvements. So one massive improvement that we are seeing is that I think they are starting to realize that stealth dropping some of their announcements are cool. Now, we had a counter argument on Monday where this whole Resident Evil thing, that it looks like they might be, again, I don't want to speak in absolutes here, they might be holding this thing back until tomorrow. But the whole Resident Evil 8 thing, I think they were better off announcing this ASAP. Shout out to Duncan of Cloudy with a Chance of Games. I agree with his sentiments wholeheartedly, where Resident Evil is a system seller for people. People reserve their people will make hundreds of dollars of purchases based upon a $60 game, Resident Evil. And if I know, if Stadia is my favorite platform, but I have a favorite game that I'm like, I gotta play this day one, and I'm not sure it's coming to Stadia, but then I realized that I got an opportunity to play it somewhere that is for sure coming, and I want to shore up that opportunity, because at launch, next-gen consoles are going to be scarce. You don't know what the state of getting a console is going to be. So if I know Resident Evil 8 is on its way, and I want to be sure that I'm able to play it day one at release, yes, this is my favorite platform, but I don't know if it's coming here. I'm going to spend hundreds of dollars there to pick up a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series console, where if Stadia would have got ahead of that message and said it earlier, instead of me spending hundreds of dollars there, I could have said, oh, okay, well, it's coming to Stadia, so I'll wait for more details on that. And instead, I'll spend my hundreds of dollars here. I'll get a new controller, new CC, and that benefits Stadia. So I think they're still trying to fine-tune a sweet spot for the whole stealth drop and the preemptive announcements. They're not there yet, but they're getting a lot better at it, is what I'm trying to say. So, C-Pro, great point. We'll see. I'm interested to see what happens. So either one or two things are going to happen. Absolutely nothing tomorrow, or you're going to see a great stealth drop of a show, despite the whole Cyberpunk 2077 thing. We talked about that yesterday in my video. Damn shame. I'm in a camp that believes that Cyberpunk 2077 was supposed to be the base of this celebration. I mean, can you imagine? Cyberpunk 2077 releases on Stadia on its 1 year anniversary, and we're all celebrating. I mean, it's releasing everywhere, but we're celebrating it on Stadia. And after you saw the presentation of it on the Xbox Series and the Xbox One, it was a good argument to say Cyberpunk 2077 might be the de facto place to play Cyberpunk 2077, because especially if there's a 60 frames per second mode, because I'm going to be honest with you, it didn't look horrible, but that Xbox One footage and that Xbox Series footage of Cyberpunk 2077 didn't look fantastic. It didn't look phenomenal. It didn't look like a world apart of what Stadia could do. And if Stadia has a 60 frames per second mode, my God. My God. So can you imagine all that, ladies and gentlemen, dropping tomorrow? But unfortunately, it's not. It got pushed back again, and it is what it is. But they might still have some great information and stuff drop tomorrow if they are going to release some stuff. So we'll just have to see. All right. So now let's go to the chat. And again, if you didn't catch that before, hello, Caleb. That's the link to Caleb's YouTube channel. Please subscribe to it. All my Stadia people. I think his channel is the apex of where we kind of want to be as a community. We want to represent the enthusiasm of the platform, but at the same time, we don't want to paint everything too rosy. We got to keep it real. Me and Storm, we had to keep it a buck about this whole 60 frames per second revelation. You know what I'm saying? We had to talk about that. We had to talk about some other things too. So it's great. We don't want to put ourselves in a bubble. We want to embody the enthusiasm that someone within a community, again, embodies. But at the same time, we got to keep it real when we got to keep it real. And I think Caleb does a great job of doing that. So definitely follow his channel. We also got some other celebrities in the house. The homie Stadia Talk is here. He says, hey, MM, what's going on? Happy Wednesday to you, my good friend. Bubby Has Well Kisses says, I am glad I pre-ordered Cyberpunk 2077 on Stadia since I have to send my Xbox Series X off for warranty work. Let's talk about that for a little bit, y'all. I want to talk about that for a little bit. But I want to do this real quick too. Let me do this. Shameless plug on my own channel. Well, another one of my channels. I also run a general gaming channel. It is called MM2K Videos. And join us. I'm gonna put join us for the commission. I spelled that right, probably not. Tonight, 8 p.m. EDT. Now, here's the thing. We run a show called The Commission. It's going to be airing on this channel that I'm just dropping the link to right now. It hosts Storm, myself, Snow Bunny, Tron, for gamers with Lineage. We talk about all things gaming. It is Stadia friendly. There is no, we ain't going to talk about Stadia because the crumb side doesn't want to hear about it. We don't do that there. Like, we talk about everything that's prevalent in the world of gaming, right? Because we want people to be informed. We don't want people to just be in their argument bubbles. We want people to grow and expand their knowledge on gaming. It's not about, it's not about using ice cream as your emotional, using gaming as your emotional bonbon when you're feeling some way about your favorite piece of plastic. It's about informing the gaming community. And if you're somebody that fits into that camp, you definitely want to sub to that channel and watch us at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Every Wednesday, we air The Commission. Now, with that being said, this is a Stadia podcast, and I definitely don't want to overlook the Trash Mob show that also airs at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our good friend Eddie Player One's channel. So here's what I propose. Definitely, if you want to join us, join us. If you want to join us live, join us live. If you want to join Trash Mob Live, join Trash Mob Live. But whatever you do, when you're done with one, check out the other. Both great shows, both with phenomenal content. You don't want to miss them. And just because you don't check out one live doesn't mean you can't watch the other one on demand. So definitely be there to check that out. All right. Now, let's talk about it. We talked about these yields on both of them. PlayStation 5 yields appear to be a little bit more defective than Xbox yields. And we kind of said that in advance. Shout out to Chase. We talked about this live on air, behind the scenes, all that stuff. We've talked about it. We tried to inform y'all. We hope y'all were listening. Why do I say that? Because I hope you got a warranty. If you didn't get a warranty, then you weren't listening to us. And I'm not trying to be a smart aleck, but when we're giving you this information, please take heed. It's not to make me feel better or make Chase feel better about what he knows what he knows. He knows water is wet. If you don't know water is wet, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you guys are listening to this information as we're giving it to you, because we were telling you, please be careful of these yields on both consoles. Now, I've fallen victim to the PlayStation 5 shut off a couple of times. Actually, one on that same channel, the MM2K Videos channel, you'll see live on air. You'll see it happened, occurred live on air, which was very embarrassing, by the way. So it left a bitter taste in my mouth. Now, I'm not hearing as many issues with the Xbox Series X, but I'm hearing them nonetheless. People are having issues when they go into gears, things happen. People have had to return them. With that being said, regardless if one is having 60% failure opposed to 50% failure, that's one thing you ain't got to worry about on Stadia. Can I get an amen? You ain't got to worry about that on Stadia. And that left a sour taste in my mouth. Some people said, well, it's happening more on PlayStation 5, MM2K. Just get an Xbox Series X. No, because it's still physical hardware that I don't want to have to deal with these issues earlier on, especially when both of these consoles, maybe Xbox more so than PlayStation, but both of these consoles ain't robust in their lineup. I mean, the biggest game that caught my attention at launch wasn't Miles Morales or Dead Souls or whatever, Demon Souls remake. It was Godfall. And yes, Godfall is beautiful and plays wonderfully on the PlayStation 5. But if I'm in the middle of a battle and I'm like, oh, I get it, guys, this is great. And then my PlayStation just goes, like something off of Mork and Mindy, I don't want to keep dealing with that. So what do I have now in my possession? I have an RTX 3070. And I'm here to tell you, my friends, that card is godly. I was just talking to Storm about it on my way to doing the show. I said, brother, you got to get an RTX 3070. You have to. If I'm giving a recommendation to anybody, if you're like, oh, I got a decision to make right now within these early months of the next gen launch, do I get a RTX 3070 or 3080, or do I buy an Xbox or do I buy a PlayStation? If you fit in that boat where, as far as you being able to play on PC, all you need is to upgrade your card, I'm going with get the RTX 3070. That is it. You don't even need a 3080 as far as I'm concerned. 3080 is overkill unless you plan to make 3D people instead of not 3D printing, but if you plan to print out 3D people like Westworld or something like that, you don't need a 3080 or even a 3090. That's overkill. That's Death Star power. You don't need that. I'm telling you, the 3070 is a phenomenal card, and you can, oh my gosh. I was like, when I plugged in the card, now granted, I have 3 monitors. I have 2 1440p monitors, and I have a 4K monitor. Speak of overkill, right? But granted, when I plugged it in and I powered that baby on, when I looked at my desktop looked better. I said, wow. I said, this is about to be something crazy. And so then I booted up Assassin's Creed, and I booted up all of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I booted up the crappiest games on the crappiest service out there, Ubisoft, and the crappiest games on the service. Giving people problems. I didn't do Watchdog Legions yet. I think that might be out of my scope because I still got an i7 processor. But I booted them up, and I'm getting 4K 60 on medium high settings, albeit, but I'm getting 4K 60. And even the 1440p 60 looks so much better than the 1440p 60 that I have on my 2070 at the same settings, y'all. The same settings. There's something magical about these 3000 series cards. So again, if you want an MM2K recommendation, my recommendation is if you're in that boat to where it's just a matter of you upgrading a card on a PC and you're like, what do I do? Do I get an Xbox, a PlayStation, or do I upgrade my card with this $400 or $500? I say upgrade your card. I say upgrade your card. I don't think that these consoles are ready yet. And as far as console plug and play, my recommendation is either Stadia, Amazon if you can get in, GFN, it's cloud gaming. These consoles aren't ready yet. I recommend, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're really a graphics buff all like that, there is nothing on these consoles, maybe Miles Morales, and that seems like a cool game, but you can play that on your PlayStation 4. But if you really got to see all the latest and greatest and the upgraded visuals, get a 3070. And as far as volume of games, if you're a volume gamer, Game Pass is on PC. There's a PC Game Pass. But then there's GFN, there's Stadia, there's cloud gaming is phenomenal right now as far as the value and the volume that it provides you at such a low price. Like you can load up on several of these services. Like I can have Stadia. Stadia doesn't require me to pay anything just to have it. All it does is require me to sync my Gmail account and buy games a la carte when I want to play them. Boom, that's taken care of. All right, I might be an Ubisoft fanatic and I want to play Ubisoft games, subscriptions via the cloud because maybe I can't get a 3070 MM2K. Boom, okay, Amazon Luna. Or when it comes to Stadia or GFN. Because you can utilize your Ubisoft Plus subscription on GFN. I want to play Road Company. I want to play the plethora of games on PC, but I don't have a powerful rig. There goes GFN. I don't think these consoles are ready yet. They're definitely not ready. And tune in tonight at 8 p.m. I'm going to talk to you guys about ultimately what I am going to do personally, along with what I suggest you do when it comes to this new generation. I don't think they're ready yet. I think we got overhyped. I think we got excited. And I don't think that our hype is focused in the right place. These consoles aren't ready yet. And I am impressed by the DualShock, this new DualSense controller. It is phenomenal, but it's attached to the overall experience, which is the console. And I just don't think these consoles are ready yet. So with that said, I've babbled enough. Bubby has well kisses. Thank you for that. But now we're going to go to the chat. My homie Squid in the house. He said, hello, MM2K in chat. Want to wish you guys a good day. I'm just working right now, and I'm actually doing text to speak on this little tablet thing to see how well it works and it's keeping up. That's awesome. I love text to speak. Let me go back up because I want to miss none of y'all comments, man. The homie Calypso says, Cyberpunk 2077 will be a huge data point for Stadia. The reaction to this game will set a trajectory for Stadia for months to come. If reception, sales are positive, more publishers will join. Absolutely. It'll be fantastic to see how well Cyberpunk 2077 does on the platform. It was an excellent move to help with that effort for them to put all of those CCUs and controllers in the hands of people. And I didn't even think about that, Kelly. That, wow, they did this right before the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. So can you imagine, folks, and we need to keep a close eye on this. I think Caleb is right. If we need to imagine this. If Cyberpunk 2077 has a 60 frames per second mode on Stadia, and it doesn't have one on consoles, even though we know one is coming later via the enhancements in 2021, that's huge. That is huge. And that might help aid things in the barometer, in the litmus that Caleb is talking about. All right. But great point. Jay Bennett says, I can see a stealth drop video with the showing of things to come. Resident Evil 7, 8, Destiny 2, release of Outcast, and stealth drops are cool. It's like a surprise value. Absolutely. I am not telling them to abandon stealth drops. I think that when appropriately used in the right situations, they work. I just think when you have a big title, a big ticket title that's new, that is coming to your platform as well, it helps you in saying, yes, it's coming here too. While they're announcing it elsewhere, say, yes, we are eventually getting this too. Because then what that does, like Duncan says, is that holds people back from buying the next gen console because they're like, oh, well, the game that I really want is really coming to Stadia. So let me hold this several $100s, and then it's burning a hole in your pocket. You know how it goes, gamers. The money burns a hole in your pocket, and you're like, okay, let me buy another CCU, let me buy another controller, all that stuff. So yes, excellent point. But I just think that they got to find that sweet spot. And I think you do the stealth drops except for when you got new titles coming. Maybe do an official, hey, everybody, just so you're aware, this is coming here too. All right? This is coming here too. Charles says, I'm predicting but staying cautiously optimistic that we get is that FP Games, Ubisoft Plus, more EA and Capcom. My stretch prediction is Activision Blizzard. Caleb said, you're making me blush hard. Hey, no, we appreciate your efforts, man. You got to, hey, we want the unsuspecting gamer to be informed. We want to be enlightened. We don't want to be in a bubble as well. And we particularly honor and cherish diversity of thought. So definitely. And I think your content is a great landing point for a lot of people that's looking for that. Hellmonkey88 says, stealth drops are the way forward. If you announce something and it ends up delayed, and it's bad press as such. I get it. I get it. But this is what I think they should do, Hellmonkey. Again, don't say, yeah, Resident Evil is coming Q2. Don't even give a time frame. Just let people know it's coming here as well. Because if you know it's coming here as well, then that might make you hold off on saying, okay, I'm getting the PlayStation 5. And then in return, again, you spend the hundreds of dollars with Stadia. I just think that helps them out better. Random News says the Destiny 2 being free to play for everyone for tomorrow. I have to wonder if we will start to see other free to play. We're going to talk about that. I think other free to play games are coming. Hellmonkey says my CCU just updated and I'm messaging on there now. Awesome. Zogic says, amen. When I asked for an amen earlier. The homie Nature Boy says, you extended the warranty, but you have 1 year to do that. Just relax. You extend that warranty, you have 1 year to do it. It depends on where you bought it from. I just want to be very clear. It depends on where you bought. I got my extended warranty from GameStop. And they was like, and here's what I did. This was stupid of me. I wasn't thinking. I'm sitting there preaching to y'all. I gotta expose myself. We gotta keep it real here. Even when I screw up. I bought my PlayStation 5. Funny story, guys. I'm gonna share them stories tonight. I can't do it because I'll take up too much time. Just the things that people will do, grown people, to get new consoles in their hands is ridiculous. I'll just share this with y'all real quick, and I'm gonna get to Nature Boy's point. For those that are Dave Chappelle fans, shout out to Dave Chappelle. I love Dave Chappelle. I think he's hilarious. And if you don't know why I think he's hilarious, and because you ain't seen his content, you can check it out on Netflix, of the greatest comedy series of all time as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, there's this older guy that appeared in Dave Chappelle's skits. Older guy, looked like he was dressed like a pimp, had the hat. He was in that one skit where he was like holla 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 holla, and he was also the guy when Dave Chappelle was Black Bush and Mos Def had to. He said, "Yeah, we were hot in yellow cake" or something like that, and he came out with Mos Def, and he's like, "God damn, that yellow cake." This crazy guy, this older guy, he's funny, and he was the guy with Dave Chappelle's fake grandma, when he told them to go to the store and get them something and they threw Dave Chappelle out of the house. So those of you that follow the series, you know who I'm talking about, right? That older guy. There was a guy in line in front of me at GameStop who looked just like this guy, but he looked like he was borderline like 80, and he probably was. And I want y'all to tune in tonight because the stuff that this guy was saying in line was insane. And I'm like, dude, you're 80 years old and you're heavily entrenched in the console war. Like, a guy walked in to GameStop and he looked at the line and he said, holy crap, not in those words. You know, I'm trying to be PG here. He said, what the hell? And he said, what's going on here? So the people at GameStop, they said, oh, this is PlayStation 5 release. We're giving out everybody their consoles. Said, you're actually here early. We just opened up, come on in and we'll get to you shortly. And the guy said, oh, no, I totally got it wrong. I'm here for Xbox. So Dave Chappelle's, the Dave Chappelle guy turned around and just berates him. This is PlayStation. This is greatness day, and just berates the dude for like 5 minutes. Even when the dude just looked at him and was like, "Dude, you're too old for this." Left. He's still talking stuff on this dude for 5 minutes. I said, "What?" And he was behind a lot of friction and a lot of crazy stuff that was happening in the store. It's hilarious. Nobody got hurt. Nothing serious happened, but it's just the stuff coming out of this dude's mouth. I'm like, there are 80-year-old console warriors out here, man. This stuff is serious. But definitely tune in to the show later today. I'll give you guys full dibs on what happened there because it was hilarious. But no, to answer Nature Boy's question, I got my GameStop was only letting you get the warranty that day. So if you're buying it from GameStop, you gotta get the warranty that day. There is no, you can come back later. And the warranty at GameStop is $40. But shout out to Nature Boy for that. He's Stadia Universe now. He said, what's up, MM2K and everybody in the chat? Charles says, I'll say it'll be a while till Xcloud upgrades now. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Nature Boy also says, I'm not buying a next generation console. I'm keeping my PlayStation 4, maybe buying a new PlayStation 4 when they do a price drop. Yeah, I got you. Our good friend, Mr. Positive Stadia and Munar's in the house. He says, I'm enjoying my PlayStation 5. Great games at 60 frames per second, 4K, plus greatest controller out there right now. Hey, if you like it, I love it. And Munar, if you like it, I love it. I won't say nothing. The homie, Bippity Bop, he says, man, if Hyperscape comes tomorrow, I might actually lose my girlfriend. Laughing my blank off. It'll probably won't tomorrow, though, but we'll see. Absolutely. It's okay to speculate as long as we understand these are rumors. We're going to talk about it. Well, in the new Stadia program video, Stadia staff from Google are telling developers there's a timeline they must have day and date when developing games to Stadia. Yeah, and that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome, and you're absolutely right, Chris. And shout out to you, my good friend. All right, I think we're caught up in the chat. So let's go on. Let's really go on to our first official topic. Let me minimize this. What you're seeing here is Far Cry 5 on Stadia, y'all. I'm having, that's my game of the generation. I love it. I only did one mission, did several hours. Well, I did 1 hour only. Then after I went live, I came back and played 2 more hours. Didn't do nothing, just roam the area and just killing wallops of people. All right. So let's first talk about this. I want to talk about this first, y'all. Stadia Super Saturday is this Saturday. All right. Look up Stadia Super Saturday on Twitter to get all your Stadia Super Saturday information. For those that may not know what it is, Stadia Super Saturday is what was formerly 24 hours, but now it's like 36 hours of continuous Stadia content curated and put together by our good friends at Stadia Source and Cloudy with a Chance of Games. They're working with a crap load of Stadia content creators. We're all working together, and hour after hour, you'll see different content from the various content creators. We've had 2 previous versions of it, and it was a total success. And I expect this one to be bigger just because there's more people involved now too. So I just wanted to real quick, and we're going to talk about this on SSC tomorrow. Yep. We got a special guest tomorrow too for SSC podcast. We'll talk about that. Well, you'll find out. We might stealth drop that. But we got a lot of great content creators here. They're going to be kicking everything off. Stadia Source and Cloudy will be kicking it off. I'm at 11 GMT. And you will see, now you see here, it says on the 22nd, which is the 22nd. What day? I don't know. I think this is Saturday at 8 p.m. This is 8 p.m. Saturday, y'all. At 8 p.m. Saturday, your homie MM2K is going to be playing some Division 2. And I will have a code, maybe 2, because somebody was talking. We've gotten, we were successful in landing 1 code, and we might have another code. So we might have a couple codes to give away during it too. So join us at 8 p.m. on Saturday. For me, I'll be playing the Division 2. I'll be doing the Summit. Right now, I plan to do it solo because I'm a tough cookie. I think I can do it solo. Yes. I'm going to attempt to go up 100 flights of crazy Division 2 stairs for that whole hour. We're going to have a good time. Y'all know I love Division 2, and we're going to have a great time. But there's probably be people in the chat as well, keeping it lively, like we did the last time Stadia Super Stadia Saturday, Stadia Super Saturday. Goodness gracious, too much coffee. It was me, Projekt Storm, I think 6'4", I think it was Chariot Man in there. Chariot Man, were you in there too? Then we had Eddie. The homie Chase was in there. There was a bunch of us just chopping it up, having a good time. Brian was in there too. Shout out to Brian. So definitely check us out. Now, there won't be an SML podcast that day. Now, Storm, when is Projekt Storm? I think Storm is Sunday. Yes, Storm is Sunday. Yeah, I'm 8 p.m. I'm 8 p.m. Let me see. Where's Projekt Storm at? I think he's after Stadia Cast. I can't see. Yeah, I can't see what Storm is, but we'll find out when Storm. Oh no, Projekt Storm is Projekt Storm, he's going to be early. He's going to be 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So definitely check out Storm when we would normally be going live. You know, I might kick it with him a little bit, see how he's doing. And then you can check me out at 8. Now, I'm telling y'all right now, if you want to see Stadia at its best, and I'm not saying it's everybody puts great content out there, but I'm talking about visually. If you want to see Stadia at its best visually, mark down on your calendar whatever Projekt Storm is doing at noon Eastern. He has the crispy, like Southern Fried Chicken crispy. He has the crispiest YouTube Stadia videos in the game today. He has them. I don't know what magical pixie dust he puts on his PC before he puts play and record, presses play and record. But he won't tell me. Y'all see, look at my videos. He won't tell me. I got a 3070 card. I still can't do. Y'all saw what I tried to do last night. I still can't duplicate what Projekt Storm does. He got that magical pixie dust. But if you want to see Stadia at its best, if your goal is to not just have this and be part of it, but you want your friends to see so they know how great Stadia is, I not only urge you to have them watch this whole our whole event here, but if you want, what I would say to your friends, if you really want to see Stadia at its best, y'all better tune in to whatever Projekt Storm is doing at noon. That's without a shadow of a doubt. Now, with that being said, let's move on to the next subject. Hold on, let me see here. We got some more comments in here. Dr. Spaceman in the house. He said, don't forget that like button. Thank you, my good friend. Christopher Torres. He said, yeah, Stadia Super Saturday is going to be dope. I'll tune in, but last time I watched Super Saturday, I couldn't hold it and needed to play some games on Stadia while everyone else was live. Hey, Chris, if you're free, bro, hit me up. We can do some Division. Stadia Universe says, I'm good, Torres. I hope you as well. Messaging is here. The homie Jack so one, he says, send me an invite to Division 2. I'll run some summer with you. I only play Heroic, though. See, I ain't played that Heroic yet, JXR. Come on, man. Stop trying to embarrass me on my own stream. But we can chop it up in the chat. We can definitely do that. Stadia Universe. Yes, sir. Messaging is definitely different here now. I can send a message without any excuses. Yes. But yeah, we can chop it up in the chat, y'all. Talk, just make it entertaining. And because what I'll do is I'll question people. That's what we talked about Stadia because the purpose of this event is to inform, is to let everybody know how great this platform is, right? For one. And for two, for us to get together and try to show the better lights of the community, of the content creation community. That's what I think it's all about. And despite whatever differences we may have in regards to analyzing the platform, I think it's important for us to get together and at least show our enthusiasm in Stadia instead of us kicking its teeth in and then other people kicking in the teeth of the people that's kicking the teeth in. This is what solidarity. That's what I'm looking for. Solidarity. Okay. So definitely check out Stadia Super Saturday. All right. Next on the list. Let's talk about it. Rumor. Those are my sound effects. I'm cheap, y'all. I ain't got no soundboard. Rumor alert. Let me stop because I don't need the Breakfast Club. Hit me up. Give us back a rumor alert. We'll just go with rumor. Check our good friends at Stadia Source, your number one source for Stadia news. Dropped this article earlier today. It says, according to a tweet from Ubisoft France, Hyperscape is currently undergoing maintenance on Stadia. Rumor! Let's check it out. Let's check out the article, y'all. Ubisoft France tweets about Hyperscape downtime includes Stadia. Now they got to look. They got this. This is Mr. Stadia beware, right? This is their version of the, I don't want to say Mr. Yuck, but the Mr. Cautious. Information contained is subject to speculation and should not be treated as fact until confirmed by Google Stadia or Ubisoft themselves. That is a great warning message. But this is What? Rumor! It's okay, we're having fun with the rumor. This is to be taken with a grain of salt. Could Stadia be about to get another Ubisoft title? Let's make that bigger. If the Ubisoft support page for France is anything to go by, then Hyperscape could be about to join the Stadia store. The text reads, maintenance will take place on Hyperscape today from 3 p.m. for the deployment of patch v2.3, expected duration 90 minutes, platforms PC, PlayStation 4, Stadia, and Xbox. Patch notes available here. So let's take a look at these patch notes. I'm just check. Okay, so here goes notes right here. Let's do this. Let's be smart. Let's be some gumshoes. Oh no, Control F. Let's see if we can find Stadia in here. Nope, we don't see Stadia in the patch notes. So you know what that means, but they don't talk about in these patch notes. They don't talk about any system. I don't see. Let me see. Let me put Xbox in here. Nope. Stay. Nope. They don't talk about any system in none of the patch notes anyway. So I was trying to do some gumshoeing to see if we can narrow down if Stadia is included or whatever. With that said, enough about me. This is huge. If it's a possibility. What do you guys think about the possibility of not only Hyperscape coming to Stadia? Because we just talked about it. Bungie and Destiny 2 are now going to be free to play on Stadia. We'll talk about it a little bit too. A little bit more about that. Now Stadia has a free to play wing that does not have a paywall associated to it. And we didn't think that was possible. I know I didn't think it was possible. I know we talked about it on TSI. Some of my TSI people didn't think it was possible. Hey, look, I'm dragging us all under the bus. If I go down, we all going down. If I die swinging, everybody dies. I know a lot of us on TSI said I'm a mess. I have no integrity. A bunch of us on TSI. No, I said I'll own up to it. I particularly said I was upset about it at first. I remember I ranted about it on a similar thing that I did earlier in the year. But then someone talked me down off the ledge and said, hey, look, MM2K, you got to realize that this platform, you can't have people just hopping off and on the platform and they don't get anything for it. And I said, yeah, I get you, because in order for you to play Destiny 2 on Xbox, guess what? You got to own an Xbox. Even if you want to play it on Xcloud right now, you have to be tethered to Game Pass. So you're paying them. Now, y'all didn't realize that. Y'all ain't think about that? Did y'all think about that? Did that fly over y'all heads? Xcloud isn't free. Xcloud is embedded at no extra charge within Game Pass that you got to pay for. And you got to pay for Game Pass Ultimate in order to get access to Xcloud. Right? That flew over y'all heads, huh? Okay. Well, now it's landed. With that said, yeah, guys and gals, this would be dope. So enough with my babbling. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this revelation. What do y'all think about this? The possibility, again, let's not overshoot the moon here. This is rumor. This is just a rumor. Not etched in stone. But what do you guys think about the possibility, the possible revelation of Hyperscape coming to Stadia and coming to Stadia soon, as early as tomorrow? Let's talk about it. Christopher Torres says, definitely, I'll jump on, look at the schedule this Saturday. Yeah, come on, man. Let's do it. Borderlands 3 on sale to Stadia store. Ooh, yeah. I want to get to 8. Hey, Nature Boy, how much is that download pack? That ultimate pack? I got to finish Borderlands 3. I got to. Hey, look, y'all. Speaking of Borderlands 3, speaking of Borderlands 3, y'all, this is why I say I don't fully, I personally, I don't fully, especially now that I've had the next gen console in my hands, I don't fully invest in the theory that Stadia, even in the 1.0 phase, isn't next gen. There's a lot of things that these next gen consoles are relying on. Faster speeds, 60 frames per second. You know what I'm saying? That Stadia has been doing since 2019. Stadia has been doing it, had a year. It has been doing a year in advance. And Borderlands 3 is one of them. Like with Borderlands 3, you're getting a 60 frames per second mode finally on consoles. But with Stadia, you can get that right now. It still looks great and get it at a fraction of the cost. I think that's huge. So we can't say that next gen isn't Stadia fully, because a lot of the things that next gen is relying on, at least for the first few months, Stadia has been doing a year. It's already been doing for a whole year. Yes, is there ray tracing? Yeah. But you know what? Even people that have these next gen consoles that are having some disappointments that are like, you know what, this really isn't blowing us out of the water like the way we thought it was, is saying to these developers, you know what, at the end of the day, to make my $500 really feel worth it, skip the ray tracing. I want better visuals, but overall I want better frames, because frames add to better visuals. Frames do more for visuals than resolution ever could. Y'all know that, right? I repeat, frames do for visuals more than what resolution ever could. Ray tracing is a great thing, but the earlier versions of it, along with keeping the performance up, it's not jiving for everybody. And I'm seeing more and more people say, if I had to choose between ray tracing and frames, give me the frames. Guess who had the frames first? Stadia. So we just got to keep that in mind. And it's great that Borderlands 3 is going on sale on Stadia, because it helps illustrates that these quote unquote old games, these are the games that these $500 consoles are leaning on, and you got to pay $500 plus to upgrade the game, when all you got to do is just link your Google account to Stadia and get on and play it at a discounted price, as the homie Nature Boy has said. Hey, Nature Boy, I got to be honest. I'm going to say this live on air. Nature Boy, you are freaking me out. You know why you're freaking me out, bro? Number one, that's my brother's nickname that we gave him in our wild and bachelor days, Nature Boy. And you look like my brother. I thought you were my brother at first. I was like, but no, he looks a little bit younger than my brother. So you're freaking me out, but glad you put that out. I just want to let you know that. Shout out to the homie Nature Boy. I said, wow, it's a small world. All right. Bippity Bob says, I think the amount of people buying microtransactional Destiny 2 will be insane. Yes, that is the ticket, y'all. That is the ticket. Will be insane. I think Stadia will make more money by releasing it free instead of locking it behind Pro. That is the ticket. Bippity Bop. That is the ticket. That's why I've come full circle. I started saying that. Then somebody said, well, you got to understand they got to pay to be on the infrastructure. And I said, yeah, I get it. But now I'm coming back full circle. It makes sense, because it's all about those microtransactions. Microtransactions, y'all, is what keeps the lights on in a lot of cases. Before this robust situation that we had with everybody suffering from COVID, being in the house and buying video games more than ever, consoles were doing bad. Now, some people said it was in anticipation for the next generation. Yes, true, but people just weren't enthused. And the only thing that was keeping the lights on, keeping the money coming in a lot of cases, was microtransactions, and particularly Fortnite. Fortnite was holding these, was keeping the lights on. Particularly at Xbox. Jackson1 says, Borderlands 3 has a dark zone. Oh, for real? Battle Royale mashup and a mode called Arms Race is dope. Oh, I didn't even know that. Oh, that's dope. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I got to get that. My brother's impersonator. No, the homie Nature Boy says the TV will be more affordable when we don't have to shell out. Exactly, bruh. Yeah, man. I'm with you. I'm with you, Nature Boy. That's another thing. Then they're like, go get the QLED and the OLED. You know what I'm saying? And it does make the box sing. But if I ain't got the finances for all that, and then again, we got to remember all these elitist mainstream game entities that get free codes and free games, they forget about that point. That's very important. What Nature Boy's talking about here. Everybody can't afford this. So when you hear your favorite personality, and I had to back up a little bit with the rhetoric and stop not stink so much and just point people in the direction of maybe those that can better educate, maybe do a better job at me. But when you hear your favorite mainstream entity that is so knowledgeable, so well endowed in knowledge and depth as far as the box, and you say to them, hey, look, I took a few moments just to go over here and learn a little bit more. I know you can too, and they refuse to do it. It kind of upsets you because then they're sending false notions to the unsuspecting gamer. And that false notion is, I don't know who Stadia is for. And as someone that used to talk to my coworkers who were counting pennies with kids, that like me grew up with the Sega Genesis and the the ColecoVisions and all that stuff. But now because of family responsibilities, they can't game, and they would love to game. They just can't do it. And I've literally had to bring in old 360s, old PlayStation 3s, so these people could games. Like, look, man, this was one that I was working on. It's an extra one that was sitting in the back room here, man. You can have it. You know what I'm saying? Give them a couple of games. You can have it, man. I want you to enjoy gaming like, oh man, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, man. You know, as someone that had to do that, when I hear elitist mind state like that, it upsets me. The market is, there are a bunch of people, and don't believe that there are not a bunch of people like that. There are a bunch of people that just cannot afford to get into gaming. They would love to. They grew up like me and you playing games, and life circumstances change things for them. There's a lot of people. You would be surprised. A lot of people out there like that. Like when I worked in the office, I was an unashamed gamer. They would make fun of me and say, oh, MM2K is going to go home and play with the neighborhood kids and what was it, the hottest game at the time? I think it was Halo. You're going to play with the neighborhood kids in Halo and steal their trick-or-treat money. They used to make fun of me all the time, and I didn't care. You know, so this is a corporate 500 company, and I'm sitting there talking about video games. But I knew all of them played, but I was just the one that just was unashamed about it. And you know how many people would come to me and be like, yo, yeah, man, I would love to get back into games. I just can't anymore, you know. They would laugh at me when they're in front of the group of people because that was the cool thing to do. But when I would talk to them one-on-one, yeah, I can't afford it. I bought the girls, my good friend D, I'm gonna call him D. My good friend, we're gonna call him DM, my homie DM. It's the guy I gave the 360s to. He was like, yeah, man, things are tight. The girls really wanted the DSs. That's all I could afford for Christmas. I gave them the DSs, man. You know what I really liked? I like that Fallout 4, man. What do you think about that Fallout 4? And I remember I had just bought Fallout 4. And me personally, I wasn't that enthused about Fallout 4 at launch. I wasn't the biggest fan of it because of the whole Minecraft elements. I didn't like the merging of those two. And I felt like it was getting too commercial. It was getting away from the things that made Fallout 3 charming. I didn't like it. So I was about to trade it in. It was sitting in my house for weeks when me and my homie DM was having this conversation. And I said, dang, man, I really felt bad. So I went home, looked at my kids, and we had consoles all over the place. I got multiple 360s, 2 PlayStation 3s sitting in the house. My daughter wanted to get into gaming. Finally, she was still in high school, so I bought her a 360. I had like 5 consoles sitting in the house, right? Didn't need all 5 of them. So I looked at them. I said, the one sitting in the back room, we really don't need. That's just if I got company. Like when my brother would come up from down south and kick it, I said, bro, you ain't got to bring your 360 with you. I already got an extra one up here. That was just sitting up there for him when he would come up once or twice a year so me and him can play co-op together. He'd be in the back room. I'd be, you know what I'm saying? And that was just gluttony. Because here I got somebody at work that came to me and was just like, dang, man, I wish I could, and I Fallout 4. And I'm like, what you know about Fallout? And we was talking, I really realized this was a gamer in distress. So I went, I unplugged the 360. I gave it to my homie DM. It gave him Fallout 4 instead of trading it in. I said, bro, here you go, man. He's like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? So many people like that. So many people like that. And we can't forget, people have families, responsibilities, sick parents, stuff, and they just can't do the things that they want to. And gaming is such a great release. But they can't get into it. So they hide and act like they're not into it, but they see people like us, and then they're like, I wish I could do that. But again, they don't want to be all gooey on the outside, so they just act like they're not into it. And it's the elitist, I can't stand it. I hate using the word hate, but it's the elitist state of mind. When people say, well, so what? It's cheaper. Who cares? Gaming is an expensive hobby. Anything can become an expensive hobby, but gaming doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. And I like to see people happy. And for the elitists that are more fortunate or whatever, that ain't got to worry about costs and stuff like that, I don't like that mind state. I just don't like it. I don't like it. So it's a great thing that Stadia promotes people to be able to enjoy gaming, without that big old wall of I got to pay $1 billion for it, period. So thank you, Nature Boy, for that, letting people know about that. And I totally agree with that. Emerson Goulet. Did I say that correctly, Emerson? I hope I didn't butcher that. I'm sorry. Borderlands 3 looks great on Stadia. Yes, it does, man. That's the game that sold me on Stadia. Because it was my favorite game at the time in 2020, at the end of 2019. That was my game. That's my game. Borderlands 3 is my game of the year for 2019. And it just ran crappy on consoles. I refused to get it on Epic because I hate the Epic Game Store. That's a whole nother podcast. I hate everything that they're about. And when Stadia came along in Borderlands 3, the performance mode was smooth like butter. And that's what really sold me on Stadia. That's when I went from just talking about the tech, like, y'all, this ain't that bad. Don't listen to the news. And like, it was like 70-30. It was 70. I want to say 70% of the time I was either on my PC or my Xbox. 30% of the time I was on Stadia, chopping it up on Destiny 2. And I played a little bit of Darkseid. I was playing Darksiders Genesis. You know what I'm saying? It went from that to Stadia being my main way to play when Borderlands 3 came. And the rest is history. The homie Sneaky Ray Sherrod is in the house with the eyeballs. Jackson one says, as long as the console have to download update patch, they'll never be the next gen. I agree with you. The homie Shake Capo in the house. He's like, Mars, brother, what's going on? Shake Capo, don't come in here with that console rhetoric. I'm in my bag today, brother. Consoles, they ain't ready. What did Kevin Hart? They're not ready. As Kevin Hart would say. They got to. I don't even want to bring it back up again. Viewers are out of sync. Smash it, everyone, and please share. I appreciate it. Hell Monkey. Hell Monkey, did you drop the link to your Discord? Please drop the link to that Discord. My friend got a PlayStation 5 and he's now getting hyped for Stadia, even though he doesn't have Stadia. That says a lot. Man, we talked about it earlier in the week. One of the smartest things that Stadia has done to date was not only drop family share, but then immediately after that, do the YouTube premium giveaway of the Stadia premier bundles. And now Caleb has helped us understand and see that this was happening right before Cyberpunk 2077. So can you imagine? And if it's 60 frames on Stadia, you gotta announce this. Stadia, you gotta announce it. Play the hottest game of 2020 now on Stadia via your Chromecast Ultra. 60 with a covenant, 60 frames at a covenant, 60 frames per second. You gotta Stadia. If it's 60 frames on Stadia, you gotta announce it. You gotta. If you don't do it, Stadia, and Khaled was talking earlier about how well perceived Stadia will be. If it's 60 frames on Stadia, which I'm hoping it is, please be. But if it is, a true testament of whether you guys have found the sweet spot or y'all truly get it. And again, I'm not trying to be facetious about this. But this will show, or rather, let me say it this way. This will show how in tune Stadia is with the steps to success. Even though it's early, you don't want to shy away potential adopters, or you don't want to shy away mindshare whether it's early or not. This will be a true testament on how well you understand this. If Cyberpunk 2077 is 60 frames per second on Stadia, and it isn't on consoles, with the hard time people are having getting these consoles, let alone 3070, 3080, 3090 cards or other cards. If you don't say, play the biggest game of 2020 here on Stadia at a covenant, 60 frames per second, if you don't let that be known, then I got to question, as we say in broadband, I got to question your integrity. Or no better yet, I got to question really how in tune you are with the mind share that'll benefit you. Even early on, we get it. It's people want to make it seem like that if Stadia doesn't do this now, it's doom and gloom. That's bullpucky. The reason there's a year, 2023, we've already proved it. Sorry, you hear the helicopter in the back. They're life flighting someone to a hospital. I'm right behind a hospital. I live right behind a hospital. Stadia is in this for the long haul. They had a set of modules that released a couple days ago that explain that they're really looking to hit hard, not in 2021, not in 2022, but by 2023, they're really looking to hit hard. Now, that's a year that we've been throwing out here, even before I had a Stadia channel on my MM2K videos channel. I said, did y'all notice why Game Pass lets you load up until 2023? They max out at 2020. That's really when Xbox is expecting Game Pass to kind of be at an apex to where they can really market it, because that's the bread and butter of their product and services is Game Pass. They're not going to have the catalog to really promote it at a granular level. I mean, yes, it's a lot of water cooler talk here with us, the 5%. I know that they did a lot of corporate double speak, and they said 70% of people that bought new consoles, they're either new or existing Game Pass subscribers. Wow, and the whole internet went frenzy. Oh! And y'all couldn't see pads. They threw out another effective smokescreen. That bibble babble tells us nothing. It told us nothing. How many of that 70% were new? How many of that 70% were existing? Were 69% existing and only 1% new? Because if that's the case, that's nothing. I mean, it's cool, but that's nothing that should surprise anybody, for the simple fact Your early adopters in a new generation are always your most hardcore. We know the hardcore Xbox people got Game Pass. Your hardcore people buy all your products and services. Now, it would have meant, that number would have meant something that you would have said 40% of the consoles sold at launch were new Game Pass subscribers. Now, that would have been impressive. But you didn't do that. You lumped in new and existing. And if the existing people, if existing Game Pass accounts are buying Xbox, that's I mean, again, it's not bad, but it's nothing stellar. It's expected. Your hardcore adopters are going to be the ones that buy your consoles at launch. That would be like PlayStation coming out. 80% of new consoles bought were tagged to a PlayStation Now account. What would that mean? Your hardcore would be buying PlayStations. Of course. But that was a lot of bibble babble. But with that said, I think it's important to understand that Stadia, despite all of this hype, that really is starting to go down just a tad bit because people are realizing, hey, I don't have a lot of new to play here. Hey, this thing keeps shutting off on me. Hey, maybe these things just aren't ready yet. You're starting to hear the murmurs of maybe these consoles aren't ready. Shout out to Richard Review Tech. I know I jumped on this case before about Stadia, but I do agree with him. I don't think these consoles were ready yet. Some of that, it was just that gamer excitement. But going back to Stadia, if they truly get it, they will let, and if there's not a 60 frames per second mode on Stadia, I mean, if there's not a 60 frames per second mode on next gen, or even if there is one, regardless, that it really doesn't matter. It'll have more impact if it's not on consoles, but you want to let people know that you can play Cyberpunk 2077 at 60 frames per second on the dongle and the controller we just sent you. Because you know there ain't going to be no 60 frames per second mode on last gen, aka PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. It's not going to be there. It's only going to be available on next gen hardware, I believe. So you want to let those people know, on that dongle, on that controller that we just sent you, oh yeah, you can buy Cyberpunk 2077 there. You ain't got to worry about playing with your friends because multiplayer ain't out yet. It's a single player experience. Buy it on Stadia. Buy it here. Matter of fact, what we'll do is if you buy it on Stadia, we'll give you $10 off. You can't beat that. We'll give you $10 off. That to me is going to signify how much Stadia gets the mindshare gain. I'll put it like that. Let's phrase it like that. If Stadia gets the mindshare gain, because it doesn't matter if it's early or not, if they get the mindshare gain, that will be part of their marketing. If Cyberpunk 2077, let me speak into the mic nice and slow. Let me get Barry White on you. If Cyberpunk, that don't sound like Barry White. That sound like Chef from South Park, but whatever it is. If Cyberpunk 2077, baby, has 60 frames per second, Google Stadia, you gotta let the people know, baby. You gotta let them know. You gotta get mindshare, baby. You're always working for mindshare, baby. You always gotta have mindshare, baby. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I get it. There's a swath of the community that don't care about 60 frames per second, but you gotta learn how to play the game. And right now, casual consumers are influenced by what when it comes to tech? Numbers, Stadia understands that. Hence why they came out of the game talking about 10.7 teraflops. It just didn't land well in the long term. But while frames per second is the talk, you don't say our frames per second or better. You just let people know you got it too. Because people are making purchasing decisions. People are doing what I did, hunting down 3070s, waiting to buy next-gen consoles because they want to play Cyberpunk 2077 in 60 frames per second or the smoothest frames possible. And if for $100, $79.99, or no additional charge, they can play Cyberpunk 2077 at just the price of the game on their TV at 60 frames per second, that's something that has to be underscored. You got to do it, Google. If you understand, baby. But let me go back to the chat. All right. American Goulet says, Digital Foundry made a new video showing some screen tearing problems with Xbox Series X while playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That was really interesting. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be fair to Xbox. Wow, Ubisoft, man, this is hurting me to say this. Oh, man, y'all got to get it together. Y'all got to get it together, man. Y'all the hot. Hey, look. Y'all are the hottest commodity out right now going into next generation. All eyes are on you. Y'all got the hottest games. Y'all got Watch Dogs, Legions. You got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the biggest Assassin's Creed launch ever. You got Immortals Phoenix Rising with all its newfound DLC. You got Ubisoft Plus launching in the cloud. People are clapping like a baby seal about it on Amazon Luna, and that's dope because there's some great options there because of the Win86 architecture. That's dope. I can't wait to get my day on invite. Come on, Amazon. You got all this stuff popping for you, and when people get your product in their hand, it's fizzling. I'm gonna be fair to Xbox here. I did some testing last night on my new 3070 card. My 3070 card that I said was a godsend. I put it on medium settings, and for some reason on medium settings, which I surmise it's on Xbox as well, because they're saying that the 1440p upscale version on PlayStation 5 actually looks better and performs better on PlayStation than it does on Xbox right now. I believe that it's for native 4K, medium settings, like how I had it on my PC that I was testing it out last night. I was getting screen tearing all over the place. I think that's something to do with the game. And I think what it is that it being a native 4K resolution at medium settings, there's some type of glitch. I won't blame that on Xbox solely. It's a problem with the game, but it proves to show you that you don't, but see, I have options on PC. I just noticed that at 4K medium, I could bump it a little bit. I could turn down the resolution scale from 100 to 90, problem went away. I could bump it up to high, problem went away. Bump some guardways and some stuff lower, problem went away. You don't have them options on Xbox. So that goes to show you the problem with consoles, and particularly the problem with consoles that are trying to reach native resolution. Native resolution is overhyped, especially with all the AI and machine learning that Xbox is supposed to have at its disposal right now. We're seeing such trickery and such artistry when it comes to Stadia. At some point in time, y'all ain't going to know the difference until when? Digital Foundry tells you so. So consoles, give it up. Give it up. Y'all don't have the options as PCs do. So give up the native resolution. Give it up. But I won't blame it all on Xbox. I'm being fair. So I can be fair. I'm not going to blame it all on Xbox. I think that's an Ubisoft problem, and Ubisoft got to get it together, man. They really do. I love Ubisoft, my favorite developer, because I love their style of games, but they got to get it together. The homie Ray Shiras had been sick all morning, but could not miss him in 2K. Hey, man. Hey man, don't upchuck all over your screen for the case of me, man. Feel better. You finally got your Amazon invite, man. We want you to fully recover and tell us what your thoughts are on that. Shout out to the homie Ray Sherrod. Hell Monkey says get well soon, Ray. The homie Nature Boy, yeah, man. The homie Nature Boy. Hey man, you're always welcome here. You're always welcome here, brother. What else we got? Bibbidi Bob says, I spent at least 120 on microtransaction on Destiny 2, and I haven't even played it every day. That's already Stadia Pro for a year. Absolutely. What else we got here? I saw somebody say my name. The homie Projekt Storm is in the house. He says, yep, in Stadia Universe, all he needs to do is look at the gameplay and then try it. After trying it, he should be impressed. Let me see. Lars Ride Jefferson says, just went through 3 missions of RDR2. Man, that game never ends, 63% missions done. That is excellent. Excelente. See, I talked Storm up. His ears was burning. He's like, what's going on here? And I was watching a random video, Chris says, on a YouTube stream that I was playing on the new Xbox. He was rocking Warzone and crashed 3 times. Not sure if it was the game or the hardware. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the consoles. Don't believe the bullpucky that, PlayStation 5 is just, no, it's all of them. PlayStation 5 may be doing it more, but as I always say, don't play the game of praising the cup of pee over the crap sandwich, because the cup of pee goes down easier. They're both unacceptable. And that's why I say these consoles aren't ready. Homie Project Store says, you know what's crazy? I will be buying Series X because I bought so many games for it and I like the performance when all is working. And Blue Sky says, I've only spent 36 in total for Google Stadia because I've had Pro for 4 months. I've been given over 30 games and free of the controller and Chromecast Ultra. That is fantastic. See the value there? But I'm telling you, Google Stadia, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, we gotta do the cha-cha together, baby. You gotta get that mind share, baby. You gotta, and again, I'm getting everybody hyped up, and Cyberpunk probably ain't got no 60 frames per second mode. I can see Storm now. See, Moss, you got everybody worked up and hyped up, and even got a 60 frames per second mode. But I'm just saying, come on, Google Stadia, baby. If there is a 60 frames per second mode, y'all gotta highlight that. Y'all ain't gotta say, we got the best of the smoothest. Don't do that. But just say, look, want to play Cyberpunk 2077, 60 frames per second, low barrier to entry, come to Google Stadia. Play it on your phone, you know what I'm saying? Come on. Come on. You can do it, baby. All right. So, let's go to our last subject matter. Hold on. Uh-oh. So this is courtesy of our homie Dr. Spaceman. I love how he did this. This is not a drill. That was dope. I like that. Chorus developers have confirmed working with Gen 2 Stadia, and they were on a Spanish-speaking podcast yesterday, and the translations have been different, but basically they were speaking up the capabilities of, quote, what we've monikered as Gen 2.0. We talked about, and not only have we talked about, but John Justice has been on Stadia Cast. He's talked about it. Phil Harrison sitting with Jeff Keighley on, I guess they call it Gamer Rants or something like that, the YouTube show that he did when Phil Harrison sat with Jeff Keighley on YouTube, talked about it. I remember because I watched that interview like 8,000 times so I can get the transcript. And Jeff was like, oh, you know, next gen consoles are coming out. You guys are going to be able to upgrade hardware and Phil was like, oh, yeah. So there was that. That was kind of like a confirmation, but it's been an unspoken confirmation, right? And then we had the Stadia Cast revelation that was, you know, shout out to Bill and Lloyd, Run Jump Stomp and @Dasme on Twitter. Check them out. Great, fantastic show. So they were talking to a developer, and it could have been Chorus. Who knows? The developers of Chorus, where they were talking up Gen 2.0, and they said in their interview or their talk with Bill and Lloyd. That was, off the record because we don't know who it was. They wanted to make the announcement anonymously that they said for their game, Stadia, Gen 2.0, whatever you want to call it, the upgraded version, their game was working better there than it was on the Xbox Series X. And in one of the translations from this Spanish-speaking podcast, it sounded like, according to Daily Google News, Stadia News, let me see here if I can find it. It says, now it is also interesting to note that the developers also mentioned that Gen 2 is as powerful or even more powerful than the current gen consoles. All right. Now, there have been different translations from different sections of that interview where they said not to compare it or some other stuff. And then the actual developer himself came out and clarified some things to Stadia source that says, basically, look, I really don't want to get into detail about this. We'll talk about the possibility of a Gen 2.0 when it's confirmed. Basically, so someone called him on the horn and was like, hey, I don't know if you was doing shots before you went on that show, but you know how we do at Google. We super government top secret. Hold on one second. He said, we're super government top secret here at Google. Shut your mouth. And also, you can see here in red, there was an update by Rod Oliveira, reached out to Stadia sources, and here goes the actual comment. No, I did not confirm 2.0. What I did was to talk about the rumored specs and tie that in with my line of thought. As we develop our games at the max potential of a platform, if 2.0 indeed is confirmed, we'll be happy to explore all the potential the platform has to offer. It's corporate doublespeak, y'all. There is, as far as I'm concerned, there is a Gen 2.0. But they just weren't supposed to talk about it yet. Course in previous tweets confirmed ray tracing and all that other stuff. And we know that's just not possible on the current hardware. We talked about the Kronos group that is working on a software-based ray tracing. And what's being offered by the Kronos group, who the CEO actually works at Nividia. Kronos group is a group that's an initiative based upon enhancing visuals. You know what I'm saying? The Kronos group isn't actually like a company opposite in Nividia. It's an initiative. And the guy that's the CEO or the head of the Kronos group actually works at Nividia. And so they worked on a software-based form of ray tracing that is going to be available, that's going to be possible in the next line of RDNA architecture from AMD. And AMD confirmed that they will be using the Kronos Group's version of ray tracing soon. But it's only possible in the next lineup of their technology. So we know the current technology, the current server blades aren't possible of ray tracing. So if the people that develop Chorus are doing ray tracing, they're not doing it on the current blades. So there has to be an equivalent of we just monikered it Gen 2.0. There may not be a Gen 2.0 branded or copyrighted, but there is an equivalent. There's going to be an upgrade in hardware. So if Gen 2.0 makes people feel uncomfortable, we'll just say an upgrade. There's going to be an upgrade in hardware because the current hardware cannot do the software-based ray tracing, according to what we've been told by AMD. Now, I'm just going off of what we were told. Look it up. Now, unless there's another form of ray tracing that we haven't been told about that is going to be possible on Stadia, if something new is something new that just hasn't been talked about is about to hit the scene. We're going to get upgraded hardware for at least some of these new next gen games that are going to have some capabilities. That's my opinion. I don't want to talk in absolutes about it, but that's how I feel that is going to what's going to happen here. I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, there has to be upgraded hardware because the current hardware is not capable of it, from what we know. So very interesting revelations. But what I really want to talk about is whatever you want to call it, Gen 2.0, upgraded hardware that can do ray tracing, as Chorus is already confirmed. Or not Chorus. Why do I keep calling them Chorus? The developers of Chorus already confirmed. What do you guys think about that? And when do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's going to happen tomorrow? Let's talk about it. So, Nature Boy says, keep in mind, Google may have to announce a successor to his Chromecast Ultra. It won't be that expensive. Lars Ray Jefferson says, just being able to take my game to phone when the wife wants to take over, the TV is golden. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Nature Boy also says Stadia games will constantly see upgrades over time. Cyberpunk running 60 frames per second will happen sooner or later. Hellmonkey asks Nature Boy, the successor is the Google TV stick, is it not? Says, I don't think so. It might be Hellmonkey 88. It's only $50. Now, there is the Google TV, but the Google TV doesn't do 120 hertz. And I think what we got to keep in mind is that there might even be additional hardware and another dongle that's coming out there in June or in the first half of 2021 that will be able to support next gen hardware that's capable of 120 hertz. If you want to play it on TV. Because the Google TV to Sabrina goes up to 60 hertz. It doesn't support 120 frames. So we got to keep that in mind. I originally thought it did, but it didn't. So these are all interesting revelations, all interesting stuff to keep our thoughts percolating. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that everybody is, got their ears to the ground, they're paying attention. And again, none of this stuff is absolute. We don't know. But if you want my opinion, if you're asking for my opinion, yes, there's going to be upgraded hardware in the works. Upgraded hardware that can possibly do ray tracing, whether you want to call it Gen 2.0, the future stuff, the good future stuff, whatever you want to call it. Stadia understands the importance of keeping up with the next gen console's capabilities. Phil Harrison acknowledged that when he talked to Jeff Keighley, when he was being interviewed. You guys got to go back and watch that interview. He acknowledged that. He spoke to it directly. So it's just a matter of when we're going to get it. That's my opinion. When we're going to get it. I think it's very interesting to hear this. I know Google probably wasn't excited that this was released because they like to keep stuff close to the vest, but this is good because when people don't hear stuff, they make purchasing decisions, Google. You got to keep this in mind. When you don't talk about just talk about stuff at a high level. Or even if you already talked about it, reintroduce it. We're not ready yet to go into full detail. Don't be afraid to say stuff like we're not ready yet to go into full detail. But yes, we're still working on 4K or 8K 120 hertz capabilities. We'll give you more details down the road when the time is appropriate. When you say stuff like that, that sends a signal to other people, okay, I'll hold out then on PlayStation 5 because then people start laying waste to doubt. Maybe it isn't coming. Maybe they're going to slapstick some stuff together, time, you know, a little piecemeal. Maybe it ain't coming. Maybe just to be safe, let me get a PlayStation 5 because they're not talking about it. I just see MM2K and Storm and other people talking about it. And Google ain't talking about it, so it ain't happening. That's why I say when it comes to new stuff, new games, new capabilities, just say, look, we are working on this. We are working on that. We can't talk too much about it, but we do want to let you know that we are working on it. That will then, that could save people a lot of money and say elsewhere Stadia and then introduce and reappropriate that money to you. That's all. But with that said, I think that's everything that we wanted to cover. One more thing, tomorrow, there will be an SSC podcast. It's going to be early. It's going to be early. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes. Me, Projekt Storm, and we got a special guest. We'll announce it then. But yes, stay tuned. We're going to go live at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, sorry, there's construction going on in the back. I will be on Stadia Source with Lloyd and Bill, and I think somebody else for the roundtable. I think that'll be around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to be there for about a half an hour, and we're going to talk about, the 1-year anniversary, what we expect. And it's going to be a great time, everybody. I love Stadia Cast. I love Bill and Lloyd. They've done some great work, some great contributions over this first year. I think it's important to highlight it. To my wife prefers listening to Bill to listening to me. So, shout out to them. I love their work. But yeah. So definitely check us out tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Well, watch the whole thing. This is a great special. We're going to be doing several hours with many different content creators. It's going to be a great time. So with that said, I wanted to highlight more comments, but something happened with StreamYard. Yeah, StreamYard is cutting up right now, and I can't quite get it to work. Not showing no more comments. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to have to go to YouTube directly. Says, Zogic says, but all depends on developers. But since microservices and games are still new, most current engines can't handle it. I don't know when it's coming, Charles Rand says, but as people have reported some kind of visual boost. Gundar 6590 says, I've been researching AMD cards for ages. The Pro V340 is the latest and only GPU AMD sell to data centers. Google does not use retail GPUs like the Vega 56. Gandar, great info. Thank you. I can confirm, Gandar, you have to dive into AMD blog post to find the mention. So they're talking about. So Gandar says to bump up performance, Stadia just needs to use the other half of the GPU or use 75% of the GPU per instance. We're talking about features like ray tracing and stuff like that too. So we got to pay attention to that. And I don't even think on that current hardware, Gundar, I could be wrong, that ray tracing is possible, even the software-based ray tracing. AMD specifically talked about having software-based ray tracing possible only via the newest lineup of architecture, their newest architecture. So if you're doing ray tracing on Stadia, and the developers already confirmed it, I'm curious on how they're able to do it. Not a bump just in performance, but the possibility of ray tracing. Since the Vulkan ray tracing doesn't need specific hardware, Stadia will be able to offer ray tracing as a microservice, allowing all the processing to happen on a separate computer. Interesting. Because Zajic, I read somewhere, we'll talk later. I read somewhere where they talked about the Chronos ray tracing that AMD said that is not possible on the current hardware. It's going to be possible that they're promising it on the next gen hardware. And I came from AMD themselves, so that's interesting. But I'll show you what I was looking at. We can rap about it. But all great stuff nonetheless. All great stuff nonetheless. Hey, look, guys, interesting stuff. Thank you so much for coming through. Definitely check out Stadia Dosage channel or news streaming channel. Did my night? Okay. We got a new. Please check out our new game stream channel. The Nightbot just released it. Okay, yeah, if you're not signed up to this stream channel, I'm gonna drop it. Copy link to address. I'm gonna drop that channel right here for everybody. New streaming channel. We did a stream last night of we did a stream last night. What was that show? That game, Far Cry 5. Here's the thing though. I'm gonna do my stream for Stadia Super Saturday. I'm doing it here though. I'm not doing it on the stream channel only because I've already submitted this channel to Stadia Super Saturday. I don't want to confuse anybody. I was talking to somebody like, you should do it on the new channel. You'll get more followers, but no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to confuse anybody. I'm not worried about the followers. I want it to be a nice flow from show to show to show. Me personally, I think that'll help make the event more impactful. So, we'll get subscribers on that channel. I just think it's a matter of people knowing that it exists. But I know that was one of the big things that people had asked, separate the game stream and stuff from the commentary, and we're going to do it. So, but with that said, I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank y'all for making this another successful open mic. Sajik says they just want to sell their new cards and coming straight out of the mouth to see a group that is hardware agnostic. Oh, okay, I got you. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. Now, was that with the Zajic? Real quick before we roll, so people can also listen to that. Was that via the interview that the Kronos Group CEO gave with Red Tech Gaming? Because I remember you sent that link to me, and I listened to that on my walk. But the Red Tech CEO, was that Red Tech Gaming? Was that in that interview? Let me know real quick before we go off here. Because if it was, well, regardless, go to YouTube, guys and gals, go look up Red Tech Gaming and look for the interview with the Kronos Group CEO. It's a very enlightening interview. And that is, it was a great eye opener for me too. Yep. Same interview. Okay. Zajic, thank you very much. Oh, that's great. Yeah. And that could be what's happening. So, you learn something new every day that maybe there isn't specific new hardware, and maybe AMD was giving us the okie doke, but we are going to get ray tracing, and we're going to get more power. We're going to get more juice out of Stadia. So it could be via new hardware. It could be the boosting of the current server blade. Who knows? And maybe AMD was blowing smoke up our rear ends so they can sell their cards as Zajic is implying. With that said, we're gonna get better capabilities, right? We're definitely gonna get it. And I'm more inclined to, but I am inclined though that there might be more blades or new blades coming for the simple fact that Stadia Gen 2.0 was referenced to Stadia Cast. I feel that I think they vetted their source well. So we're going to see. We're going to definitely see. And in this comment that I'm seeing from the developers, of course, it looks like doublespeak. They'll inform us of what it is. But I'm not, as I told y'all earlier this year, I don't think that's the most important thing right now to focus on. I think the biggest thing to focus on is your because the new gen consoles aren't there yet anyway. They're not doing anything super, super fantastic. You have examples here and there, like you have a Godfall that, oh my God, that not only performs well, but looks fantastic on PlayStation 5. You know what I mean? And some spot examples here and there, but overall, it's not an overall glaring, kick in the chin to Stadia. No, it's not. You still got some time. I think the most important thing is that your biggest games of the year have a performance mode. Now, we saw Marvel has a performance mode. We're seeing Ubisoft drop the ball on that performance mode. It will be hellified important for Cyberpunk to have a performance mode too, 60 frames per second. But with that said, thank you guys for all that information. If you don't want to play at 2 frames per second, Zazie says, well, yeah, but the new hardware would be much faster if you don't want to play at 2 frames per second. I got you. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you all. And until tomorrow, remember, SSC Podcast is going to be 11 a.m. Eastern. So that's 8 a.m. West Coast. That's going to be 4 p.m. UK time, okay? With that said, thank you guys so much. You all have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.